Thanks, Sudipto and L&T Group for inviting me and sharing some of the thoughts of how AI can potentially change the way we transact. He gave lots of examples of the L&T Group adopting AI in manufacturing. But the thing which I keep asking myself and my team keeps asking when we were set up about 3 years ago as the startup of the Reserve Bank of India, as I call it, that are we reinventing financial services for 1 billion people? And that is when Sudipto reached out to me for this talk. And I'm more than happy to share our views and my personal views on how potentially, AI can transform financial services for 1 billion Indians. So we are all aware that India has, one of the best ID rails, best payment rails, and digital rails. Have we reinvented financial services the way food delivery apps have? So I have a number of Gen Z. I think one of them, someone sitting here, she is telling me that when you order something at a hospital, what do they get? They also get a message from the delivery apps, hope you are doing well. It's a very, very small gesture, but it is happening. So it makes you feel good. It's not that they can do anything about it, but that's where we want to get to, right? So we are also aware that why AI potentially can offer much more to India, because we have such a complex country, right? The fact that we have not just the population size, but the fact that 424 indigenous languages. So even if we talk about 15 languages, the fact that am I able to access my financial services in Telugu or Tamil? Answer is largely no. There are some outlier apps which have that functionality. So if language becomes the biggest barrier, which is a complex thing in India, and obviously there is a 58% gap between urban and rural India in terms of internet penetration. There is a ICRIER report on state of India's digital economy, and obviously 64% resides in rural India, which means their demands, their needs is very different from somebody staying in Bandra Kurla complex. But are we looking at that? That's not the topic that I am going to talk about. Let's look at some personas, 5 of them I deliberately put it up. Rural India, what are the challenges they face? Limited digital literacy and access to banking infrastructure. The brick and mortar banking infrastructure that exists is not available in 700,000 villages. But we want to serve 1 billion Indians through smarter channels using technology. So this is one big cohort. Are we serving them? I'll be very honest, not really. Because the government of India and the RBI, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, some initiatives have been taking. A lot of accounts don't even get used, forget about credit. Second is a nano enterprise. Nano enterprise basically looks at, there is no separate definition by the RBI or the government of India. But when I keep talking to Secretary MSME, he keeps saying, why do you bring up nano every time? I said, because you bring MSME as one bucket, which include a 5 crore loan and a 50,000 loan. Our focus, if you look at it, we have done a lot of study. What is a nano entrepreneur whose turnover is maybe 1 lakh a month, max? The guy, I joke with my team all the time. The guy below my office where most of my team goes for a sutta break, right? That's the person I'm talking about. Or where I buy my bhaji from. That's a nano entrepreneur, and estimates show there are about 40 million nano entrepreneurs. But they struggle access. Our studies show, and all of you know, before we came for this, I was talking to the senior leadership of L&T and also the chairman, is that microcredit is a challenge. So a loan of 20,000 or 50,000, is it easy for a nano entrepreneur? Potentially no, and most of them still borrow from family and friends at usurious interest rates, sometimes from money lenders. Women entrepreneurs. A lot of people that I speak to, in my 3 years as the founding CEO, I see, a lot of them say, why do women have different needs and wants? Studies, secondary literature, secondary research, and our primary research clearly shows that a woman entrepreneur, my team was in Agra, Mathura, and Western UP doing a study. Their needs are very, very different because a lady who's selling cosmetics in rural Mathura, what does she need in terms of finance? We have not even gone to the level of understanding what she needs. Senior citizens. And you are talking about digital arrest being the norm. I was talking to the Chief Digital Officer, L&T Finance also. And he was talking about a fraud that he heard about. Mind you, my estimated that fraud happens every day at least to one person and a huge amount. Governor RBI has been talking about what is the high percentage of mule account that got opened. And a lot of times, senior citizens get conned because they do not have the right tools to be able to understand what is the right message, what is the right call, and they struggle. And most of them, it was an OTP fraud. Now it's a different kind of fraud. They don't know where to go, and whether banking applications or financial applications might not offer. And mind you, as Mr. Zourni will agree, there was a time when 60-year-old was old. But nowadays, 60 is not old. I mean, people keep working, and in my generation, from the 1990s, as we saw liberalization, incomes have gone up. So the fact is, they are more susceptible. What we would do frauding my dad 20 or 30 years back, he didn't even have enough money in his account. But you hear about it, ex-RBI, serving RBI, senior people, a senior lawyer in Kerala, people are just losing money all the time. Urban youth. Coming to urban youth, which, again, we are doing a big study on Gen Z to understand what does Gen Z want in finance. And the fact is, if we do not serve the Gen Z the way they want, how they want, and when they want, then I'm sorry to say financial services, or traditionally called banking, will be history. Because they are the future. They are where we were 10, 15 years ago. They are the ones who are going to, earn, their income levels will be higher. And most of them need a financial services the way they can order a gulab jamun, as he said. Or get a customized, I'll take an example of a music app. When it's raining in Mumbai, what is the recommendation that you get on a Sunday morning on your music app? That's what Gen Z wants. I'm trying to learn, as Mr. Uranium said, that adapting to change. There's some personas I thought we'll bring it, so billion aspirations. So what can AI do potentially to solve for some of these personas is what I brought up. Voice-based interfaces in local languages. That's what rural India needs. It means I should be able to call L&T Finance in Telugu and say, through an AI-enabled bot, will give me all the answers that I need to say I want to buy a tractor, what is the interest rate, how much do I have to repay, in a simplified format which is easy for me to consume. Not what is easy for an urban Indian to consume. That is the potential. If they have a question on tractor finance after they availed it, can they just type out on their smartphone in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and Bangla, and Odia that, look, I have this problem. My interest rates have gone up. Or what is the total balance that I have? This is the kind of grievance that I have. It should be possible to do all of that leveraging AI. So our study, my research team did a study across banks, to be honest, not including NBFCs such as yours. It showed that 80 to 90% of banks, unfortunately, are very excited about AI, are very keen to do stuff, but they're still in the wait and watch because of a number of reasons, including the fact that we discovered that data warehouse to data lake. That was an interesting thing we discovered about 1.5 years ago, that all the chief digital officers were keen. Then they finally, after 2 hours of discussion, came to the point, sir, unless we move to a data lake, we cannot even do this. Like, okay, so we are getting there. I suppose L&T Finance is already in data lake, as I heard from Mr. Subramaniam. Nano enterprises, automated credit processing. In fact, there are various estimates of at least about 50 million merchants who accept UPI. That data exists. Can we potentially serve them and give them a loan of 5,000 rupees or of 50,000 rupees? My favorite example is, you go to a shop, a small kirana shop, that person has a phone, and she just moves the phone around in the morning, which establishes how many toothpaste I have, how many surf I have in my shop. Next day again she does it. It will tell you what is my sales for the day using smart AI apps. That's all doable. AI can do all of that and more. So some of the examples, predictive analytics for cash flow forecasting, that is also possible. Let's look at women entrepreneurs. What do they need? This is our research which has shown they need networking and mentorship platforms. And they obviously need tailored products which can serve the needs, because they might not have regular monthly income. They might want flexible repayment options. So a study also shows, do we have flexible repayment? Not that I know of. Can I, the way I do my playlist, can I tailor my financial product, my loan, on a daily or a weekly or a monthly payment? Unfortunately, no. But AI and the India's digital rails, the premium that we have, we can do it. So senior citizens. One of the things is, if I am conned by a digital arrest, the most talked about one, is the Honorable PM also spoke about. The fact is, today AI enables financial service providers, mainly the banks who keep deposits, to be able to check frauds in near real time. Our study again shows, Parul, our head of data science, is here, the fact that 90% of banking system in the country, unfortunately, uses rule-based engines, which means it will take a few weeks for you to detect whether it is actually a mule account before you can stop the transaction. But AI enables you to do much smarter, so that near instant you can do this. I want to advertise, but we have a pilot project called mulehunter.ai, but it's showing excellent results leveraging AI. Right? Urban youth, personalized financial planning tools. So you've been reading a lot about how urban youth is mostly, and not just urban, tier 2, tier 3, is into investing in a big way. It's no more my generation where FD is the first port of call. Their take is, I want to invest and make tons of money, fair enough, but our AI can enable them, enable us to provide them personalized, tailored, or rather call it hyper-personalized services which is possible. Urban youth, these are some of the examples. So what's next for AI in 2030? I'm not even looking at a 2040 scenario. We can all get this done by 2030. Hassle-free onboarding. KYC is one of the biggest challenges that the entire financial sector works on. As part of the founding team of Aadhaar, the fact is India became the leader in setting up a digital KYC. You can, through OTP or a fingerprint, instantly open any financial account, right? Using Aadhaar face match, we are doing a pilot with UIDAI. Can we enable, using a standard protocol of UIDAI, instant account opening? And the most important thing is with no agent in the middle. So you're working on that. The phase 2 is unassisted video KYC. I just open my phone and instantly an account gets opened, video KYC. With UIDI and AI is possible to catch deep fakes and everything. Obviously, AI-powered credit dispersal. So I'll give you an example of gig workers. We launched a project where gig worker data is not unlocked. It is available only with the food delivery app or the ride-hailing apps. We have unlocked that data, and there are a couple of NBFCs who are piloting this to give an instant loan. And they tell us initial findings that out of 10 loans that they give using gig worker data from the major ride-hailing apps, they would have refused 90% of loans because they did not have any data. Fact is, they know that this fellow is driving for these 3 platforms, is earning so much money, has had these many accidents, blah, 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 about 15, 20 parameters, they are able to give a loan. Obviously, we have spoken about frauds and hyper-personalized financial ecosystem. My favorite example is a bank with a large private bank. It's funny, I've been using that app for 15 years. Invariably, they tell me, do you want a loan of 10 lakh rupees? I fail to wonder, have you checked my average balance? Not that I keep 10 lakh, but whatever. Have you checked other assets that I have with you? My demat account is also with them. They keep sending the same message. So is this what, I really wonder what these banks are doing or what a lot of financial services are doing. I wish when I log in onto the app, I straddle between doing Gen Z and old school. So sometimes I had not put auto pay. Although I was keen, I was the one who played a key role in starting ECS and ACH. So on the first, there are 4 to 5 transactions which I do by 5 transactions. Why can't my app or financial services, when I log in, it can say you want to do these 5 things, select, and instantly it's done. What is stopping us from doing it? Because it doesn't even actually need AI. AI is too far in the future. But one more use case I want to tell you is, imagine if regulations were issued in machine-readable form. What we had coined a term MRQ, machine-readable regulations for regulated entities. We are still trying to figure out if the regulators issues guidelines in a way that you can consume automatically and you can actually check with your other policy guidelines what needs to be changed or what needs to be done. Other important case is, imagine if you were able to use Gen AI with near zero hallucination to figure out, I don't know, so how many branches do you have? 2,000. 2,000 branches. In the field, you recruit a new person and somebody comes and asks for a tractor loan, what is the process? How does that person know? You might provide good training, but using great Gen AI tools, your person can answer perfectly, near perfect. This is what we give, this is what you need to give, this is the rules of L&T finance, and that is what is possible, right? So everything is possible. Obviously, we know that data privacy as the total, exposure of the system. If you are using a Gen AI, the total exposure of the banking system increases, the total exposure obviously increases. We'll have to guard against data privacy. Good thing is the PDP Act is done, and the rules will be issued very shortly. Bias and inclusivity. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. I wish I could have come to you with an actual pilot that we were trying to do. But imagine there's a lady who's 30 years old and a man who's 30 years old with same education, same experience, same income. Have we tried to see whether the chances of the lady's loan getting rejected are high? 100% yes. Why? Because our models are all trained on past data. So maybe 80% of people who took a loan were male. So we would presume our model would predict, no. So what if the income is same? You should not give a loan because the model predicts that this is. So can we do something in terms of Transparency, yes, at the national level, at the regulator level, the things will happen. But we should take the first step and actually bring transparency to ensure that the AI models that we use for credit writing are taking care of bias. Now, one of the things is job reskilling. I face a challenge every time to hire a data scientist. And again, we are an RBI company, not the RBI pay scales, but still. I'm sure L&T Finance has no issue. But the overall number of people trained within the company or retrained within the company itself. And as I see, not a lot of emphasis is placed on reskilling. So as I tell some of the banks, maybe you should have a target every year, reskill 20% of people on AI so that AI is not some rocket science and they don't go to Coursera, etc. to figure out. And the example is of EU at a country level. EU decided about 3 years back, 1% of adults will be trained on AI. So at a company level, at a national level, we need to actually train rather than usual STEM engineers. So accelerating, one of the couple of examples I have is public digital infrastructure. Why there is a need just because it's a fashionable term? No. We work with a number of fintechs. The fact is, where do they get their data to train the model? The data most of them use is from Singapore or from US. Now, the consumer behavior is not the same in India as that in Singapore or US. So can we consider creating a public digital infrastructure in financial sector where sample data is available for fintechs to actually reinvent and build models? So kind of a marketplace or a Hugging Face equivalent, not a marketplace. Actually, it could be a marketplace where data is available across, let's say, 100 entities, and some models also, open source models available, so that we can actually get there. Otherwise, maybe it will just remain a dream till we do something like. Obviously, simplified regulation, skill I've already sold, safe testing ground. It needs to be provided, as we said, pilot in your UAT environment. You have to actually run through multiple use cases, because India has various socioeconomic segments, that your model should not reject a loan because of A, B, C, especially gender and other economic social factors. So with this, I'll just come to an end. I can see that together we can make AI work for 1 billion Indians, and it's not just technological. It's the way solution for the people. Imagine if every person in India can access finance in a seamless manner, which can be possible only through AI. So AI, we have to consider it as a bridge and not create a barrier, as sometimes digital has been created as a barrier. So enabler, and by prioritizing user needs, so we can all get there, and in few years down the line, we'll see that access to finance and RAISE is a great platform to bring all of this together. With this, thank you so much. Thank you.